Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation in West Africa, rarely captures the world's attention. Tucked away in the Sahel, it's a country often overshadowed by its neighbors or dismissed as another struggling African state. But beneath this quiet exterior lies a story of defiance, resilience, and transformation that challenges the global narrative about Africa. In recent years, Burkina Faso has taken bold steps to assert its sovereignty, reclaim its resources, and chart a path toward self-reliance often without the aid or approval of foreign powers. From expelling colonial influences to building its own airplanes and housing tens of thousands, Burkina Faso is rewriting its story in ways that are shocking, inspiring, and undeniably real. Here are 10 facts that reveal the nation's audacious journey and why it demands the world's attention. 1. Expelling a colonial legacy. Kicking out France. Burkina Faso's history is deeply tied to its colonial past under France, which ruled the country, then called up a Volta, until independence in 1960. But independence was incomplete, as France maintained significant influence through economic agreements, military presence, and cultural dominance. That changed dramatically in 2022, when Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a 34-year-old military officer, seized power in a coup and set about dismantling this lingering control. Traoré's government expelled French troops, ended military agreements with France, and banned French media outlets, accusing them of perpetuating neocolonial narratives. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a direct challenge to the Francophone system, a web of political and economic ties that kept Burkina Faso tethered to its former colonizer. The move stunned Western powers. France, which had maintained a military presence in the Sahel to combat jihadist insurgencies, found itself pushed out as Burkina Faso turned to new partners, like Russia, for security support. Traoré's actions resonated across Africa, positioning him as a modern-day Thomas Sankara, the revolutionary leader who once called for African self-reliance before his assassination in 1987. Social media posts have celebrated this shift, with one user on X declaring, "Burkina Faso dropped French as their official language, removed colonial names from streets, and banned colonial-era wigs. This is what true independence looks like." While some critics warn of authoritarian tendencies, Traoré's popularity stems from his unapologetic rejection of Western dominance, signaling a new era for Burkina Faso. 2. Building an airplane, a symbol of self-reliance in a move that captured global imagination. Burkina Faso announced plans to manufacture its own airplanes. While details remain scarce, the initiative is part of a broader push to develop local industries and reduce dependence on foreign technology. The idea of a landlocked, resource-constrained nation building its own aircraft might seem audacious, but it aligns with Burkina Faso's vision of technological sovereignty. The project, reportedly spearheaded by local engineers and supported by government investment, aims to produce small aircraft for regional transport, potentially boosting connectivity in West Africa, where poor infrastructure often isolates communities. This ambition isn't just about aviation. It's a statement. Burkina Faso is challenging the narrative that African nations must rely on imported technology or foreign expertise. The project draws inspiration from Thomas Sankara's era, when he promoted local production of everything from textiles to food. Though the airplane initiative is in its early stages, it has sparked excitement, with one ex-post exclaiming, "I saw the national airline of Burkina Faso, and it looks so beautiful." This is what independence feels and smells like. Whether the planes take flight soon or not, the endeavor symbolizes a nation daring to dream big. 3. Reclaiming gold. Nationalizing a precious resource. Burkina Faso is Africa's fourth largest gold producer, extracting over 57 tons in 2023. Yet, much of this wealth historically flowed to foreign companies. In a bold move, the government under Traoré nationalized 5 gold mining assets in June 2025, transferring them to the state-owned Société de Participation Minière du Burkina, SOPAMIB. These assets, previously held by subsidiaries of London-based Endeavour Mining and Lilium, included 2 operating mines and 3 exploration licenses. The nationalisation, finalised after a process begun in August 2024, aims to ensure that Burkina Faso's mineral wealth benefits its people directly. This wasn't a one-off. In April 2025, the government announced plans to take control of more foreign-owned mines, following a 2024 revision of the mining code that prioritised local expertise and suppliers. Traoré's administration is also building the country's first gold refinery to process its own resources, a move celebrated on X. Burkina Faso is now producing its own gold bars, no longer France. The refinery, coupled with the creation of national gold reserves, marks a historic shift, as the country seeks to maximize revenue from a 27% rise in gold prices in 2025, while foreign investors like Australia's Cerama Resources have launched arbitration proceedings over lost licenses. The government's focus on economic sovereignty has won widespread support at home and across Africa. 4. Housing the masses, a construction revolution Burkina Faso is tackling its housing crisis with remarkable ambition. Under Traoré's leadership, the government has launched massive construction projects to provide affordable housing for tens of thousands of citizens. These initiatives aim to address the stark inequalities left by decades of colonial and neocolonial policies, which saw wealth concentrated among elites, while much of the population lived in poverty. The projects include modern housing complexes, some of which have been showcased in viral social media videos, though some claims, like images of high-rise buildings, were later debunked as doctored footage from Algeria. Despite such exaggerations, the housing push is real. The government has funded these projects without relying on foreign aid, a point of pride for a nation as the world's 13th poorest. Posts on X have praised these efforts, with one user claiming, "Burkina Faso is building housing schemes that rival those in the First World." While the scale of these claims may be overstated, the focus on infrastructure reflects a commitment to addressing basic needs like shelter, healthcare, and education, echoing the revolutionary policies of Thomas Sankara, who prioritized social justice during his brief presidency. 5. A Pan-African icon. Ibrahim Traoré's rise at just 37. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has become a symbol of hope for many Africans disillusioned with Western influence and local corruption. After seizing power in September 2022, Traoré positioned himself as a champion of Pan-Africanism, drawing comparisons to Thomas Sankara, who was assassinated at the same age. Traoré's fiery rhetoric against imperialism, delivered in speeches that resonate across social media, has made him a viral sensation. A deepfake video in 2024 showed him delivering a multilingual speech calling for African unity, amplifying his image as a continental leader. Traoré's popularity extends beyond Burkina Faso. Supporters in Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa have used AI-generated content to project him as a transformative figure, contrasting him with their own leaders. His reforms, from nationalizing mines to banning colonial symbols, have struck a chord with young Africans seeking authentic leadership. However, critics warn of authoritarian tendencies, noting his delay of elections and restrictions on media freedom. A BBC report highlighted concerns about human rights abuses under his regime, including allegations of military killings of civilians. Yet, for many, Traoré's radical vision outweighs these controversies, making him a polarizing but undeniable force. 6. Reviving Sankara's legacy. A revolutionary blueprint. Thomas Sankara, often called Africa's Che Guevara, remains a towering figure in Burkina Faso's history, rising to power in a 1983 coup at age 33. He renamed the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning land of upright people, and launched ambitious reforms to promote self-reliance, gender equality, and anti-imperialism. His assassination, in 1987, widely believed to be orchestrated with French complicity, left a void that Traore now seeks to fill. In 2025, the government unveiled a mausoleum to honor Sankara, with Prime Minister Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo declaring its mission to keep the flame of the revolution alive. Traore's policies, from nationalizing resources to promoting local industries, mirror Sankara's vision. Both leaders rejected flag independence, the superficial sovereignty that left African nations economically dependent on the West. Traore's government has revived Sankara's call for African solutions to African problems, a message that resonates in a region frustrated by decades of foreign intervention. As one ex-post put it, Burkina Faso is forging a new Pan-African path, following Sankara's footsteps. This revival has made Burkina Faso a beacon for those who believe Africa can chart its own course. 7. Turning to Russia. A new alliance as Burkina Faso distanced itself from France. It pivoted toward Russia for security and economic cooperation. This shift began after the 2022 coup, as Traore sought alternatives to Western military support in the fight against jihadist groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, which control about 40% of the country. Russia's Africa Corps, a successor to the Wagner Group, has provided military assistance, including weapons and air support like Su-24 fighter bombers spotted in the region. In April 2025, Russian miner Nordgold was granted a license for a gold project, signaling deepening economic ties. Traore's alignment with Russia has sparked debate. Supporters see it as a pragmatic move to secure sovereignty, with one ex-user noting, Burkina Faso's government is strengthening ties with Russia and China to build independence. Critics, however, argue that swapping one foreign power for another risks new forms of dependency. A Telegraph report suggested that Russia's support, coupled with AI-driven propaganda, is bolstering Traore's image, an anti-Western icon, while distracting from ongoing security challenges. Regardless, this pivot underscores Burkina Faso's determination to redefine its global relationships. 8. Boosting agriculture. Feeding the nation. Burkina Faso's economy has long relied on agriculture, with raw cotton and gold as its top exports. Under Traore, the government has invested heavily in the agricultural sector, aiming to achieve food self-sufficiency. Initiatives include providing modern equipment and subsidies to farmers, leading to an 18.07% increase in agricultural production in a single harvest season, according to one ex-post. These efforts aim to reduce reliance on food imports, which have historically strained the economy. The focus on agriculture is part of a broader vision to empower local communities. By prioritizing domestic production, the government seeks to address food insecurity, a pressing issue in a country where poverty affects millions. While some social media claims, like Burkina Faso achieving full self-sufficiency, may be exaggerated, the tangible progress in agriculture has bolstered Traore's domestic support. This push echoes Sankara's campaigns to promote local food production, reinforcing the idea that true independence begins with feeding one's own people. 9. Healthcare and education. Investing in people. Burkina Faso's government has made strides in improving access to healthcare and education, critical areas where colonial legacies left deep disparities. A child born in Burkina Faso is 16 times more likely to die in their first year than one born in France, and life expectancy is 20 years shorter. Traore's administration has prioritized building hospitals and schools, with one ex-post claiming the government is constructing the largest teaching hospital in West Africa. While such claims may be aspirational, the focus on social services is undeniable. The government has also introduced universal healthcare initiatives, a bold move for a resource-constrained nation. These efforts, funded without reliance on Western aid, reflect a commitment to addressing the basic needs of the population. Education reforms, including free schooling in some areas, aim to increase literacy and empower the next generation, though challenges remain, including funding and infrastructure limitations. These initiatives signal a shift toward prioritizing human development over foreign interests. 10. A warning to the global system. Burkina Faso's transformation is more than a national story. It's a warning to the global system that has long underestimated Africa. By expelling foreign powers, reclaiming resources, and investing in its people, the country is challenging the assumption that African nations must remain dependent on Western aid or expertise. Traoré's leadership, while controversial, has inspired a generation of Africans to demand sovereignty and justice. As one ex-post put it, Burkina Faso is showing what an independent African country can do when it controls its own destiny. This defiance comes at a cost. The security situation remains dire, with jihadist attacks claiming lives and displacing millions. Human rights concerns and delayed elections raise questions about the sustainability of Traoré's vision. Yet, Burkina Faso's actions resonate across the continent, inspiring nations like Mali and Niger to pursue similar paths. The world can no longer ignore this land of upright people, a nation proving that Africa can stand tall on its own terms. Burkina Faso's story is one of audacity and ambition. From building airplanes to nationalizing gold, from housing thousands to reviving Sankara's revolutionary spirit, the country is defying expectations and rewriting its place in the world. These 10 facts, shocking, unbelievable, and utterly real, reveal a nation that refuses to be defined by its past or constrained by external powers. Whether through Traoré's bold reforms or the resilience of its people, Burkina Faso is sending a clear message: Africa is rising, and the world must take notice. Once you've seen this, you'll never look at the continent the same way again.